Happy May 1st, everyone. So my name is Allie, if you don't know me, and I am the maker behind Crochet in the Mud, where I do both pottery as well as crochet plushies. And this is going to be another how much yarn can I use in 1 month challenge. And this one's going to be a little bit of a twist though, because I am starting a new job. So I have a full-time job this summer, and starting May 10th, I do like part-time training. It's going to be evening virtual training, so it shouldn't impact me too much. And then June and July, I will be full-time in person. So we shall see if that impacts those months. But this is for May. So I also have a huge 3-day Memorial Day market coming up at the end of the month. You should be seeing a vlog come out for that market. But we've got a lot of work ahead of us. As of May 1st, I have a little over $6,200 of crochet inventory, and I'm hoping to have $8,000 at minimum, ideally $10,000 for that market. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us to get to that inventory goal. I also have a market May 9th that will subtract from that inventory, and I have to stock my store. So I have a lot of things coming up this month. But I am going to keep track of how much yarn I use. I keep track of it by weight, so I can calculate how much yarn I actually used by dividing, if I use 600 grams, dividing that by the 300 of a Bernat Blanket skein. So I get 2 grams out, or 2 skeins out of that, if that math makes sense. I do it all in Excel, so I'm not doing all this math by hand. But that's just how I do it. It's a little different. My goal for this month, however, even though all you can see behind me right now is Bernat Blanket, is to try to not use Bernat Blanket this month. So I have a section behind me where I set up my velvet yarn that I've had for quite a bit of time, and I haven't touched it in years. On that same shelf, I have Sweet Snuggles Light and Chenille Home Slim that I again haven't touched in a couple of years. I want to use that yarn, get rid of it, use it up. However, I need to do that. I also have a box here next to me that has Naughty Ball yarn. I have used a skein of it. I enjoyed it, but I haven't touched the box. So I want to use that. And then over on this side, I have some Parfait Chunky, which I enjoy and I'm going to be repurchasing. But I also have my Just Chenille yarn over there that I don't like. And again, I've had that yarn for a couple of years. So I've experimented in April with pairing them together. There is a texture difference, but I just want that yarn gone. So I might do a scrap project with it. We'll find out. But my issue with Parfait Chunky that I've been having right now is because I haven't ordered more. I'm getting down to a tiny amount and then not knowing what to do with it. Because usually for my small scraps, I will tie them to a new skein and keep working. So I'm trying to use all of my yarn that's not Bernat Blanket. I also do expect to be buying a lot of yarn this month because this is the, unfortunately, last month Joann will be open. As of May 1st, yarn is 50% off, and hopefully it'll go up from there. I do have to hold off though on purchasing because I need to wait until my May 9th market before I have money in the budget to go buy yarn. So who knows, maybe by then it'll be 60% off. But I will be purchasing a lot of yarn this month, which then seems counterintuitive because I'm going to be buying Bernat Blanket and not making space on my shelf. I also have Big Twist Posh that I need to use up as well. My problem is I'm a little bit of a hoarder, and with the Big Twist Posh, because right now I don't know if it's going to be purchasable in the future. As of May 1st, we know that Hirschner's has acquired the rights to sell Big Twist, but they haven't yet said what lines they're doing. Also, just because they have Big Twist doesn't mean they're going to be using the same manufacturers. But I do have quite a bit of it behind me. You will see here in just a minute when I show you my yarn shelf. So I need to use it. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I will show you my shelves and then I will update you every time I finish a new skein. This is how we are starting May off. Up here we have some sparkle yarns I'm going to make some unicorns with for an August market, so I don't know if I'll do that this month. This is that shelf with the velvet and the Michaels brands. And then we've got a pink shelf. This is green and blue. This is like an overflow shelf of a bunch of variegated. Down here is the issue with my posh. I have quite a bit of it, so I need to use it because I'm not going to become a hoarder. This is our brown shelf, not too much. I am planning to buy some brown blanket yarn from Premier, but I'm not sure when that will happen. Probably around Memorial Day, so the end of this market. So the end of this video, so not really much to update for how much yarn can I use in May. That is the purple blue shelf. So blue is kind of split between the two. I did that because I needed this overflow shelf. Normally I have a green shelf, blue shelf, and purple shelf, but not right now. And then this is my yellow-orange shelf. And then up here is white, black, and gray. Normally I store whites over here because, you know, you go through so much white. And then over here is normally black and gray. So hopefully we can somewhat soon get back to that organization. And then I do have this overflow. This is one of the 600 gram skeins of Stormy Ocean. Underneath of it, this is my Naughty Ball yarn. I've got 9 and a partial skeins. So hopefully we can use that up. My idea for this is to do some plants. And I do want to make a sloth with all of the shades of brown, but I might not be able to get to that just because it'll use up most of the brown and I need that for the plants. So I don't know. And then lastly over here we have Parfait Chunky and Just Chenille. Down here is my Kayla's Naughty Ball Deluxe yarn. They are partial skeins. They're just kind of tucked away in the corner. But this shelf is like my more fuller skeins that I have that I can really make stuff with. And then up here is kind of like scraps that there's not much I can do with until I buy a new skein of that color. And then we have our Just Chenille yarn, which I am really trying to use up. So I do have, this all is Just Chenille. So I have a little bit of pink and blue, I have black, I have green, I have white, yellow, and purple. So we'll see what all I can use up. And we have our first skein down. So I'm working on axolotls. I made a bunch of these in January if you want to check out that challenge video up here. But I have 12 left. But I'm out of a lot of colors. And it's been nice having the rainbow of axolotls at markets. So I have to restock some colors. But we are done with a black skein now. And I should just have light purple axolotls to make after this, but I don't think it'll finish a skein. So you guys should be really proud of me. I have actually been working with my Sweet Snuggles Light, and I had 2 essentially full skeins of this color called Meadow Violet. One of them was caked up, but it weighed about a skein, so I don't know why it was caked. But I just finished one. So I made 2 of the mini Brontosaurus by Crochet Grove, and then I'm working on a bigger one. And literally on the last round, I finished off the first skein. So it looks kind of lumpy right now because I need to stuff this front part, but it is turning out huge. So I did pull all of the Sweet Snuggles Light / Chenille Home Slim, classifying them as the same. So I have another skein of purple, this turquoise color, these 2 variegated, and then the hardest part, I think, for me is going to be, as I drop that, these 3 colors. This is like a dark green, this one's like a brown, and then like a purple, black, white variegated. I think one of these came out to be like 1 gram less than what I use on the mini. So I might risk it and just hope for the best with that. But yeah, just be proud of me that I'm actually working through it. And, you know, I don't hate this yarn. I don't know why. I just let it sit in the corner for a while. I mean, I'm not in love with it, which is what I was aiming for. Because, you know, you can't really buy this right now with the quality issues they've been having. They've pulled it from the shelves, I believe. So I wanted to like it enough to use it, but not enough that I'm upset I can't buy more. So it's working out perfectly. But I'll make the head and then hopefully a lot more. This dinosaur is definitely a labor of love. I have no idea how long it has taken me. Well, I want to say probably at least an hour. But I need to make a second one to time myself. And I've just not been in the mood this week to time myself on how long plushies take me. But I'll throw up on the screen how long the big dino takes. And why not? I'll throw up the price too. My prices are based off of how long it takes me to make them and the material cost. So I think we're already pretty hefty in material costs. And labor's gonna be pretty high, so I'm gonna guess this guy's gonna be in the 70s. 60s or 70s. I'm gonna guess 70s. Anyhow, it's 9:40 p.m. I am normally in bed by now, so this is not typical for me. I'm waiting for Henry's on a work trip, and I dropped him off at work, so I have to go pick him up, and he's still, I think, 35 minutes out from the office, so we're getting some late night crochet, which I don't typically do. But I love this dino. I think the necks are really short though, but that could just be me. Oh, he's so big. Okay, I've been talking for 6 minutes now about this dino. So it's been a hot minute since I have updated this video. I've not really finished anything. I have been working a little bit here and there. I have been spending quite a bit of days in the pottery studio though. I did use some Sweet Snuggles light, but nothing is finished yet. But I just finished off a white Bernat Blanket skein. I have to restock chickens. I'm completely sold out, and I had a market this past Friday that did twice as well as I was expecting it to. So I need to play catch up for my Memorial Day market, which I have, it's not this weekend, it's next week, and today's a Monday. So I have a little less than 14 days if you count the weekend. So that kind of ruins my plans to use other brands of yarn because a lot of my best sellers are either sold out or really low on quantity, and I have a 3-day market coming up. So we'll see if I can continue to use some yarn that is not Bernat Blanket. And there goes the white skein. So I believe, was that an entire skein this month? Yes, that was a full white skein. And I think we're at 5 now. If I'm wrong present day, then editing me will correct it at the top of the screen. But I just went through and filmed a yarn haul for the 5 stops I've already been to, and I'm sure I'll be at some more. But let me show you our updated yarn shelf. So you can't see too well, but under all these chickens are my Sweet Snuggles Light collection, and then those are the yarns I'm kind of working on. But this is a 20-pound box. That's just overflow. So my velvet yarn got kicked out to the windowsill again. I'll probably put it over by the Parfait Chunky, but this is what we're looking like so far. So all of the whites are up there, except the one I'm currently using, and then I do have one extra one, but these are sparkle white, that's regular white, that's big twist white. I guess black and gray don't really have too much. I think I have a black pulled. Yeah, I have a black and a partial gray pulled for possums. We've got quite a bit of pink over here going on. I tried to pull so that there was only one of each skein on the shelf to kind of help me see everything. I do have some yellow and orange pulled from this shelf, but I think this is the barest of them. This one is now all green / teal, so these three shades all look very similar, but they're different. These two I didn't mean to have both of. This is Seafoam, that's Misty Jungle Green. I've been hunting for Misty Jungle Green, couldn't find it, gave up, bought Seafoam, then finally found Misty Jungle Green. This is our blue-purple shelf. This one doesn't really want to show you the purple. And then browns, again my miscellaneous shelf. And Posh now, it would fit on the shelf if I hadn't bought more, but I bought 2 more white, and then I found a yellow baby bear. So I still have a little bit on the ground. And then, oh, I didn't show you these. This is a 600 gram skein of Stormy Ocean. That didn't fit either, that's tourmaline. Hopefully I can use that. And then I have this 600 gram of a pink. And then that is some Big Twist Twinkle White that I need to deal with. But I have most definitely accumulated more yarn. By far. Maybe even if you combine last, this is probably as much yarn I've used this entire year, and it's May, so what, 5 months? I am set on certain colors of yarn for a while. Of course, there are some colors that I did not find at my Joann, like the baby green, which I use a lot, my light pink, and my deep fuchsia. Those are the only ones that come to the top of my mind. So I guess 3 different colors that I'll need to be restocking isn't too bad, on top of me trying out the Premier Chenille Basics color. Basics Brights. You know what I mean. If you don't, you can comment and I can clarify what I mean by that. But I'm going to keep working. Unfortunately, it's Sunday and I don't have too much done. I try not to work on the weekends, but right now Henry's playing D&D with his friends. So usually when that happens, I'll either clean the house a little or crochet a bit. But since I haven't crocheted in a long time, I'm going to crochet today, and then I might keep working today. We'll see. It's going to be a very sad weekly makes video. I'll tag it up here so you can see how little I got made. But that's in terms of crochet. Pottery wise, I spent 2 days glazing and got a glaze kiln done. Again, I think I already linked it in this video, but if not, I'll link it up here. So I got stuff done this week, just not crochet market prep. But I'm going to hit it in high gear this coming week to prep for the Memorial Day market. I'm doing inventory tomorrow morning just to double check my numbers for the different colors of the bestsellers, and then hopefully I will crank out a lot of plushies, which in turn will get me a lot of finished skeins, or at least grams finished. I'm wondering if, right now I'm working part-time last week and this coming week for training, and then it's going to be full-time. So I wonder if June working full-time I'll use more yarn than this month when I focused more on pottery. We'll see if I decide to keep track in June, but that's all I have for you for now. And I have one more skein done, so this taupe, I do have a little bit left on there, but it's not going to be enough for another bobble, which is a real shame because I just need the one bobble to finish this cat. So I've only ever found taupe online, so I just quickly placed an order on Amazon, and it should be here tomorrow so I can finish this cat for this online order. I feel like this has been the most cursed online order because of course I ran out of deep fuchsia and now I ran out of taupe. So and we have one more skein down. So this is an almond. I'm working on market prepping some tofu turtles for my next market. And I have this one and one more to go in the almond. So I've got one more skein to tell you. I never finished the clip, but I finished out my gray yarn with a possum. So that was on the very last day of May. So just barely squeezing that in here. But this month, I feel like every time I make one of these yarn videos, I'm like, I'm going to do better than last month. And then somehow I keep doing worse. So May turned into a pottery heavy month. So that's okay. I had a kiln load to do. So I finished out throwing some stuff, and then I had a bunch of days glazing and doing all of that. So I also started training for the new job, which I think I mentioned in the opening clip. But this is the least amount of yarn I've used in a month. I also only used 3 different types of yarn, which of course I mainly used Bernat Blanket when the goal was to not use a lot of Bernat Blanket. So don't hate me. But yeah, I'll quickly go over what all we made. So let me scoot over first. Whew. I'm hitting stuff. So real quick, Bernat Blanket, I used 2,540 grams of finished out 8 cakes, and based on weight I used 8.47 skeins, which came out to $101.52 spent on just yarn that I used. Parfait Chunky, I used 150 grams. I didn't finish any cakes, but that came out to about 1.5 skeins that I used. I would have finished cakes if I had more, like, of each color. So, like, I ordered one of each color, and so I never got to quite using the perfect amount of yarn. So once I have more skeins, which is hopefully soon, I'll be able to finish out my tiny balls by joining them to a larger skein. But that came out to about $7.49 that I spent on Parfait Chunky that I used. And then Sweet Snuggles Light Chenille Home Slim, I did estimate here. So I don't know how much the skein actually costs, but I guess $12.99. I used 612 grams, which is a decent chunk. Most of that was on doing Crochet Grove's dinosaurs, but I finished a skein because I had another of that same color. But I used approximately 2.04 skeins, which is 2650 of yarn. In total, I used 3,302 grams of yarn, which is actually 7.279 pounds of yarn. I like seeing it in pounds. But I finished out 9 cakes, used approximately 12.01 skeins based on weight, and used about $135.50 worth of yarn. But in terms of inventory, I made $1,552, which is nowhere near my goal. I want to make at least $3,000 a month in inventory when I'm full-time. So that's about half, but also I feel like I spent half the normal amount of time crocheting that I normally do. But for the summer, with my summer job and not really crocheting much, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from keeping track of how much yarn I use in a month. But let me know down below if you like these videos. They don't seem to be performing that well. So if there's anything you'd like me to change about doing these videos in the future, or if you just simply don't find them entertaining, let me know. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!